let me just start this off by saying I agree. Greetings.
Greetings.
I'm honored to be here with you. I want to thank Leo for his invitation, for the organizers for putting this together. I'm glad to be here to engage this important conversation on topics of school discipline, which essentially is a topic of equity in education. Just so that you know, I come to you today with a level of conviction and sincerity, honesty, and humility. We are all searching for answers to vexing questions about how to best serve all our kids, but those kids who we seem to value less are indeed the true topic of this debate. The issue of no excuses in education when focusing on our babies is drenched in excuses. And the only reason we allow punitive and damning school practices and philosophies to persist is because so many have excused themselves from resolving the larger societal issues that exacerbate uneven outcomes for our most disadvantaged babies. This is it. No Excuses Schools is an excuse for us to do little to resolve the debilitating systemic crises of society that too often lives comfortably in our schools. The belief that we can bully our way to a better education is asinine as the belief that we can bully our way to a better country. The contract of tough love lacking excuses implies that love itself is an excuse that merits deletion, leaving only tough. That's what we are really telling our students. You don't need love, life is tough. So what if you are suffering trauma that's tough? So what if society is sanctioned against you? Tough luck. Be tough. Get some grit. Not grits, some grit. Regardless, the refrain is ever so clear. It's tough. That's your reality, accept it. Yet never is love on the table or the effort it might take to achieve love's truest reward, and that is authentic learning. In rejecting love, we settled for education on the cheap. We've settled for the tough because the love is expensive. The love would require that we take responsibility for student learning, that we move past a calculus of chattel delivery and overseer pedagogies reminiscent of codes of antebellum society. That love would mean that we do what we can to engage the most muddled minds. It would mean that instead of starting the conversation with questions of how to tame the broken body, we start with questions about how to heal it. It would mean that we reject the racist logics upon which No Excuses Schools are fundamentally based. The paradigm that poor students of color fail because they've made excuses. The idea that our failure is rooted in ourselves and our culture. Of course, there are other failed logics driving the no excuses conversation. The idea that these schools are somehow successful. Although some of them fail better than their less successful traditional school counterparts, none has given a scalable solution for educating our most vulnerable youth, consistent with how we educate our most affluent youth. In fact, evidence is beginning to mount suggesting that our appetite for broken windows or chipped fingernail polished schooling hurts kids. According to a recent study from the University of Pittsburgh, students who attend No Excuses Schools are less likely to take risks, less likely to raise thought-provoking questions, less likely to play, less likely to create. The list goes on. According to this study, students who attend No Excuses Schools are less likely to perform a healthy humanity that has held in place the dreams of this country. The suspension data at No Excuses Schools is also troubling. Students who attend No Excuses Schools is more likely to be suspended, remediated, labeled, and thus damaged. In one school in the KIPP system, it was reported that students were placed in a calm down room, a padded room about the size of a closet, which is far too reminiscent of what we call in the penitentiary, the hole. There's a loose relationship between mass suspension and mass incarceration. Researchers find that having been suspended is a strong indicator that a student will drop out of school. Students who drop out are significantly more likely to be incarcerated. Thus, the rise of suspension and expulsions, particularly for nonviolent offenses at no excuses schools, mirror the rise of mass incarceration and extreme punishment characteristic of contemporary systems of crime processing. What these schools lack are solutions. They've given us a way to treat an illness, cover up some of its symptoms without resolving the illness at all. Inequalities live. When students leave no excuses schools, they will return to the same inequities, the same failed social and education caste system that views them from the pejorative. When they leave, they return to the uneven world that values them less and others more. When they leave, they will leave having learned lessons of self-hate in the extreme. They won't be the only victims. Their teachers will suffer under conditions that don't optimize learning. Some of them will be forced to recite scripts that diminish who they are as professionals. Some of them will be tempted to cheat in order to maintain a job. Many of them will leave education altogether within only months of joining our profession. Communities will be devastated, as the relationship between the school and the community will all but evaporate, because many no excuses schools view communities and families as problems. We need to look forward to a day when all people can live and learn with dignity. In fact, education without dignity is not education at all. It's training, or better yet, it's taming. It's what is done to animals to make them behave or respond in ways that we will. Our children are not animals. They deserve a deeper dignity. Thank you.